right, so good to have you back. I'm sure you have thoroughly enjoyed yourself all through the history of the Carnival Calabar. Indeed, just one thing that thrills me is that, and most other people, is the themes that we've had played out several years of the Carnival. Now, let's look at the 2015 theme was climate change. And because of the importance attached to the climate, the governor had to repeat the theme for 2016. And talking of climate change, we have joining us Itita Ekpe. He's a lecturer in the Department of Geography and Environmental Science. Doctor, good morning.
Good morning.
Now, the climate change as a theme in 2015 and 16, if it were not important, it would have featured prominently on the carnival sport. Yes. So, back to back. I mean, the first time we're having carnival things played out twice in a stretch. Let us talk about this climate change. Yeah, because some people will feel, what do I have to know about it? What do we really have to know about climate change?
Thank you very much, Joe and Jason. Thank you. Good morning, viewers. I know a while ago I was here, I think a month ago or so. We talked about climate change at length. It's very important, and very important for us to understand what is happening to our climate, because climate is life. Climate affects us all as a people. Climate affects the economy, affects our lives, and can reorient us. Climate can lead to the resettlement of a whole community or a whole local government. That is how far climate can go. Climate change is a change in that weather condition of an area for a long period of time. I told us before now that 30 years is the standard. When data have been collected, data of rainfall, sunshine, temperature, relative humidity, wind speed, and the like have been collected for 30 years, and then statistical analysis has been carried out. When there is a shift in the mean, the mean is the normal, what we should expect to be the normal. Now when you experience this shift, then we say, okay, there we have climate change. And over the years, it has been shown that we have a change of about 0.6 degrees Celsius, especially when it has to do with temperature. But that is what is really driving this change, where that means it becomes too warm. And this is also leading to a lot of issues, flooding, loss of vegetation, loss of wildlife, impact on communities, impact on life, disease invasion, agriculture, impact on agriculture, water resources. We see even areas that were before now, what they had was a little river. I mentioned Wagune. They had a little path. Wagune means a crossing path. But now what they have now as a river was just a stream that they can just walk past. The climate change has led to the destruction of the whole of that area. The settlement have been resettled. Wagune have been resettled. Majority of the area have been resettled because of climate change. So climate change affects us. That's why the governor thought it wise to ensure that in 2015 the information will be sent strongly to people. Stop logging, stop anything bush burning, stop anything that will hamper our environment. Let's see how we can manage it. In 2016 he repeated it again, just to send the information that we should be aware that climate change is real, and to affect us as individuals, to affect us as a state, to affect all that we have to do. So,
and truthfully that led to the first Green Carnival, and later the tree planting exercise of 1,000 trees project. Now the ratio you earlier mentioned that was noticed, is it a ratio we should be worried about?
Yes, because it's been projected that by 2050, it's going to increase by 0.9, so it's going to be a high margin.
Because now in this period we find out that many people didn't really experience Harmattan this period, and I believe, Joseph, I don't know if you experienced Harmattan.
Hardly experienced it.
So this could also be as a result of climate change.
Yes.
Now, what could happen where a particular season is delayed or comes too early? What causes a shift like that?
What causes that shift is the change. Okay. Normally, the Harmattan season starts from November, end of November, the last week of November, up to the first to second week of March. So it starts that way. Now, if it doesn't come before time, because what as a people are supposed to do is to prepare ahead. talk about rainfall, dry season, and then the Harmattan period in the dry season. It's supposed to help us prepare. Now, if a season doesn't come on time, it affects planning. It affects you. It affects me. It affects everything we do. For instance, we talk about look at rainfall. If rainfall does not start when it's supposed to start, the local farmer will run to the farm and starts planting. Or sometimes also experience early rainfall called the false onset, false beginning. They run to the farm, oh, the rain has started, let's plant. Dry season comes back. The whole seeds have been damaged, whatever they planted. So that's the impact that it has. When it doesn't start when it's supposed to start, or doesn't end when it's supposed to end, it affects the people. It affects us generally. So it brings that false planning, and so that is why we have NEMA to advise, to give warnings and all that, to also see how we can work ahead. Because our weather is supposed to have a pattern of onset and cessation. It's supposed to have a pattern of onset. And there has been a shift in that onset and cessation, and this is because of climate change.
All right, let's look at the period we are now is the festivity. We're having a lot of people coming around, a lot of activities. It's Christmas, it's preparation for a new year. All of these activities, can they in any way, are there certain activities during festive period that can affect the climate?
For this season, okay, and normally when it gets to this period, we have lots of travel, and then you know what the aircraft, the gasoline, will also do to the atmosphere. So activity of traveling. We also have vehicular movement is high. These emissions are being taken to the atmosphere. That is carbon dioxide. They're all emitted. This helps to increase the level of carbon in the atmosphere, because warming of the earth is too much carbon in the atmosphere. So these activities have potentials of increasing the level of climate change. Definitely when it gets to this period.
Okay. No. Next, tomorrow, signals the end of this year, ushering in the new year. Let's just look at 2020. How has the climate fared generally in the year 2020? We had so many activities going on. I mean, COVID grounded the world. We had, like this side of Nigeria, we had a protest, we had those activities, with burning spree and all of that, things happening, looting and all of that. How did it affect our environment?
If you want to look at what happened in 2020, the attention to weather and climate was almost not there because of COVID-19. The world was struggling with the lives of people. The world was struggling with managing COVID-19. The world was struggling with managing the economy to see how people can survive, healthcare can be given to people, restrict a lot of things from happening to ensure we live. So people attention was mostly shift to health instead of climate. But we experienced, like in Nigeria, we experienced what happened during the flood around the June, July, August, where a lot of communities, a lot of local governments were being washed away and displaced. A lot of people lost their lives. A lot of people till today are still trying to recover. A lot of economic loss in the midst of what was happening. Also because the government was not really prepared for that. Attention had been shifted to management of COVID-19. So this also affected. A lot of people are still trying to pick up their lives because of what happened during that season. Also globally, it was also good for the weather. Okay, but we'll not talk about the climate, we'll talk about weather. Because if we're talking about climate, we're talking about long term. If this can be sustained for the next 10 years, then you can say, okay, this is going to affect the climate. Okay, so 2020 we had limitation in terms of travels, aircraft traveling. We had lockdowns, stay in your state, don't move from one state to the other. So all this also helped to ensure a lot of people stay put, and then a lot of activity will reduce. The companies reduce their staffs, and the implication means production also was also reduced. People that needed to buy products in different states and different countries could not. Like also I know of a company that experts were supposed to travel in to carry out some form of maintenance. They could not come in. Production had to drop. They had to reduce that. A lot of things happened just to ensure they can manage. So all this was also good for the climate.
So that means we could say the 2020 gave rest to the climate.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
A breathing space.
Excellent.
Yes,
We just hope to see what 2021 will be coming.
Yeah.
Let's look at climate change and the linkages it has with development.
Okay.
Can you correlate that with us? Does it have correlation, climate change and massive development in terms of industrialization?
Yes, industrialization affects climate. When they started in 1750, these climate issues were not really noticed. Not until 1750, where we had industrialization started in UK. When we started, then we started experiencing massive production activities coming up. Industries came up, different type of industries emitting carbon to the atmosphere. Normally, what we did that time was just crude method of agriculture. Plant is cut this down, plants eat natural food and all that. But today, we're having indoor companies coming up everywhere. And where are they situated? In the forest, which should act as a carbon sink, because the forest helps us to maintain the climate. The trees, they help us to maintain the climate. You, Mr. Joe, very soon you will plan building your house. That's development. And that house you situated somewhere, that place might be a forest now. So that is how far. Okay, we have our children, we want to expand, build a house. When you build a house, it makes a big boy, it makes a big girl. That continues. We want to, for the state, River State, we have let companies come in. Nigeria, let companies come in. We need employment for the people. People need to eat. People need to survive. People need to work. I finish school. I want to work somewhere. Where are those companies situated? In the forest. So development is fast driving. We talk about anthropogenic activities, fast driving. Also agriculture is also driving. People, a lot of young guys now in the communities want to survive. Today, Gary is very expensive. Yam, and the rest of people are now running to the forest to see how they can cut down. And so development is driving climate change at a very fast pace. I think that's why the government also have to do more in terms of ensuring people are aware of what is happening and reduce the level while we also replant.
Yeah, like you rightly said, development is driving. We can't stop it. Now, what do we intend to do about recycling some of the end products that come out from these industries? In some cases, we have the polythene bags, we have water bottles, we have cans, and other non-degradable materials. Now, what can be done in order to help this not to spoil our environment, thereby affecting the climate in the long run?
For in the developed world, what they have tried to do is to see how do what we call waste segregation, just to manage this, because polythene, rubber, all these disposable cans, rubbers, polythene are not good for the environment. A lot of these things get to the river, and it has been observed even fishes get to even eat polythene. There are some fish that we caught when they were dissected, they saw some elements of polythene in their rubbers. So fish are even eating these stuff, which are not also good for the system, also not good for human, because at the end we get this fish to eat. So in managing waste, it is for waste segregation to be emphasized strongly in our waste management pattern. What is happening now, we are seeing a lot of recycling going on present, which is very, very good for us. You see the young guys going around with their truck trying to get the cans, get the rubbers, while we all only throw away. A majority of what we now discard is more of the polythene than the biodegradable. The biodegradable are very, very good, can be used for fertilizer, can be used to produce different things, can be used even as methane, can serve as methane if you want to convert it for cooking. Very, very good. But these other ones, the rubber, the cans, and the polythene, are not good. So if government can also come up with a structure, I know it's going to be a big hectic to do that, but it means we must have different waste bin for different purposes. Yes, office waste to be put here, that's paper, as with paper and others. Anything polythene, anything biodegradable like food and the rest, this or that. And it's going to be difficult in managing that, but that is the way we should go if we are to maintain and manage the environment very, very well, because that is fast also degrading our environment, leading to sanitation. We look at the drainage system blocked, it's mostly polythene, these cans and the rubber. So we need to really emphasize recycling. If that can be done, it should be very in the Western world that is being practiced. But this because this polythene also collected and sent back to the factories and then used again. Instead of planting rubbers, the plant to see how you can get the latex to produce. We just recycle. So you also give the environment a breathing space. Yes. So.
All right, Doctor, let's quickly, what's your projection for 2021 in terms of the weather?
And we pray 2021 should be better because of what happened in 2020. And we should have a more stable weather. We also pray that the government will also do it in terms of creating more awareness. Because what we are suffering today is the impact of 20, 30 years ago, not just today. So a lot of awareness needs to be given to the people to be alert on what might happen at any time. Rain, we have to do with sun, and also flood when it gets to storm. The season of the thunderstorm, that is April and October. I mean, FEMA needs to work. FEMA needs to work. SEMA needs to work. Lema also needs to work.
Okay, yeah, just before we let you go on the show this morning, what are some personal efforts we need to put in place to ensure that we also help our environment? Because we always have people say, this is Kuda's work, it's not my job, Kuda will do this, Kuda will do that. So what can we do as individuals to take responsibility for our environment?
As a person, anything that will affect the environment, we shouldn't do it.
Like what are some of those things? Because many women may not know these things.
Okay. If I use the rural area, for instance, going there, want to do a farm, going to also help to cut down the trees. It's not also good for us. You have a tree by your house, cutting it down, that plant another. You've cut one plant to also help to ensure our environment is stable. Dumping of refuse into the drainage systems is also not encouraging. As much as possible, we can also manage our waste properly to ensure that the environment is not affected. You also drive a car that fumes, try to fix your car, but the fumes also affect the environment. You can also advise a neighbor on what to do just to ensure we live well and we are not having an impact, because whatever impact the environment will impact you tomorrow at a long run.
Dr. Itita Ekpe, Lecturer, Department of Geography and Environmental Science, University of Calabar. Thank you so very much. We hope we're looking at having you more and more on our sets next year.
Thank you.
Happy New Year in advance.
Same to you, sir. Thank you.
It's in the Good Morning Cross River, and it's Wednesday edition. Stay, we still have more for you. Don't go.